Hello, welcome. So, here we are with another adventure today. So, I'm gonna move my coffee out the way. So, today, what we're going to do is we're going to add a ruffle to the bottom of a really cool dress. I guess I need to show you the dress, right? So, let's talk about what we're doing. So, it's really an alteration. I did not make this actual dress. It's a customer came and said that they wanted to just, upgrade the dress. The dress is it's not outdated. It's on trend, but it just lacks the luster, I guess, or well, not luster. It doesn't have the finishing bottom of what she wanted because the dress is more of an A line with a slight high low, but not an intentional high low. So, and she wants to go with adding. At first, we were just going to add horsehair, which is I think I did a video on adding horsehair to a dress, but that didn't quite look right. It didn't give her what she wanted. Like it gave the little whoosh, but it didn't give the full effect she was really going for. So what we're going to do instead now is we're going to create a what do you call this? She asked for a mermaid style bottom. We're going to create what she wants from the picture she saw out of tulle. It's about 4 to 6 layers, give or take. Um, Tulle doesn't do the same thing that organza does. So that's something to keep in mind when you're explaining to your customers when they want a mermaid finished bottom. Every fabric does a little bit different than the next one. Certain techniques do different things. Horsehair braid versus um, um, organza at the bottom, and then a flounce is pretty much what a lot of ruffles is made out of, unless it's just gathered, and then you have a row hem on the bottom. All of those different things matter. Take into account to the style effect that the person's trying to getting now. The style that she wants is organza fabric ruffle, but made out of tulle. She's not going to exactly get that same effect. She didn't like the feel and texture of organza. She preferred the texture of tulle, but we're still going to try to emulate the effect that the organza ruffles gave that she's not gonna get with this tulle, but she's gonna get something close because the tulle picture she saw was longer pieces of tulle that weren't necessarily the gathering of tulle, depending on how you do it, can either really go over well or it can be it can be hit or miss with tulle sometimes, depending on what you're trying to accomplish out of it and depending on what type of tool you use and the way you cut it, all those different things matter. So we're going to give her a variation, which is what I informed her of. You're going to get a variation of this. You're not going to get that exact picture. You're just not, because organza and tulle are two different materials. They do two different things. With that being said, oh, I was going to show you the dress. So this is a tool I'm using. We're using a red sparkle tool that you can find at Joann Fabrics, and then we're using a solid orange tool that you can also find at Joann Fabrics or your local craft store. You can even Walmart. Don't sleep on Walmart. Walmart has some pretty good fabric selection. I'm going to go get some fabric from Walmart one day and make a whole garment. And y'all gonna be like, this fabric came from Walmart? What? Be shocking. Okay, so I don't want to lose my place with that fabric, but let me grab the dress itself. And da-da-da, look at this dress. Isn't it cute? So see, the style of this dress really isn't kind of what people are doing now if you're thinking about what's on trend. But if you're not an on-trend type of person and you just like, I like what I like and I'm going to make it be what I want it to be, then this is perfect. I do have to take in the sides of the bust area for her. And it does have boning, so I'm going to have to remove the boning and put the boning back in place. But I'm going to save that for a different video. And we're going to start making the ruffle right now. So this is the dress here. I've already cut the bottom off. And it was long, just like the lining is. But I'm going to leave the lining. I cut off the dress at about the knee area for her. We're going to add a band. We're going to put the ruffle on. The ruffle is not going to be from here. The ruffle is going to come from inside so that it kind of like it pulls from the inside of the dress versus just attaching it to the shell of the dress, if that makes sense, I hope. All right, let's begin. Okay, so I have my tool, I have my bags. The thing that I'm doing with the tool, which I didn't explain this, but I simply, I need to change my thread to orange, of course. So just while I do this, I'll just explain what I'm doing. So I'm changing my thread to orange. Excuse me. I'm changing my thread to orange color thread. And again, I'm using just your typical thread that you can get from Joann's. This is a shade of orange. It's not the exact orange, but the it'll do. When you're doing your colors, it's always best to go darker usually for your thread, but you can go lighter if it, if it fits. You just have to play around with it and see what works. Try to get as close as possible, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. As long as it's not going to be like truly visible for the customer's garment. All right. So that being said, um, I'm trying to tie my thread on. I should stop trying to tie my thread on and just go ahead and like cut it and just go all the way through. But I feel like doing something different. What you gonna do different? Different, different. What you gonna do different? Different, different. Alrighty. And we are going to bring that through. I'll cut that off. And I believe I need to change my bobbin as well. And I'm just going to use what I have, a yellow at the moment. I'm going to use that. So I've changed my thread. My bobbin and my top thread is now changed. So let's talk about this tool. So when it comes to the tool, this is what we're doing. With the tool, there are multiple layers. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. However, I have this tool that I have here is the usual width of the, I believe it's 56 inches wide. It's folded in half right now. My what am I trying to say? Okay, this is your typical 56 inches wide tool. I folded it in half. I kept it. It was already folded. It's already on the fold when you get it. And then, well, depending on where you go. It's on the fold already. I folded it in half again because what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it together. Then I will go back and cut this side where it's all together. I'm going to go back and cut this. Although I could do it from the other end as well. Well, I'll do either one, whatever. You just have to go back and cut it open. If there's any parts that are like folded over, just cut the fold open because this is going to be our top layer. I had already figured this all out before I got on here, but now I'm like just trying to like figure it all out again. But yeah, so the reason we're doing it like this is because why would I have to do it like this? Because I need more than enough tulle to go around the top of the garment. And pause. I have to rethink this. No, I'm not doing that. I have forgotten what it was that I was going to do and why I chose to do it this way. Pause for a moment. I need to give her a minimum of 4 layers. At the moment, she has 2 layers. 1, 2, or ruffles. I need to give her a minimum of 4 layers of ruffles. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this actually. I need to cut this. No, I'm not cutting it. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm folding it down. I'm folding it down. I'm folding it down. Okay, that's the goal. So to to minimize the amount of time it was actually going to take me to get this ruffle around her dress. You do have to take your measurements and all of that stuff when you get ready to sew it. So make sure you take the time to account for all those things so that you can accurately give the customer what they need. Um, yeah. See how it's already ruffled up? But in order to do that, you need so much of it. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting this. I am supposed to cut this. Am I supposed to cut this or not? I can't remember. So I could cut this, but I cannot cut it. I'm supposed to cut this shit. We're just going to do a gather stitch, so you'll need to turn your machine to the longest stitch it does. Yes, I am supposed to cut this because I knew that this was not going to be enough to go all the way around the top part of her dress. Okay, yes, I am cutting this. Okay, so before we begin, we are going to cut this. We're going to actually cut this completely in half. So I folded it so I didn't have to recut it multiple times. So we're going to cut it one time. Sorry for that. Okay. So I said that we took this. I think I have about 6 yards of this right here, and I don't know how many yards. Hold on 1 second. 1, 2, 3. I have like 3.5 yards for this upper one, so it's really going to end up being 7 yards once I cut it and reattach it for the length of this top ruffle. And give me 1 second because I'm getting ready to cut it right now. Alrighty, so we're going to start cutting this, and it's going to be great. Remember, it's on the fold, so I'm cutting it. And you can just pull it. I'm not even trying to move my scissors right now because I'm just pulling it, and hopefully you have it right at the evenness it needs to be. All right, there we go. There's that. And we're going to reattach where we cut it off. I don't like the way that particular end looks. So this end is more even together, so I'm going to reattach it just here. I'm gonna sew this about at like half an inch. just because I don't want it to be too much underneath, too much when I fold it. It did go slightly over, but that's okay. Clip as you go. It makes your job easier in the end. Just make sure you check to make sure all of your layers are attached, because you hate to just keep sewing and then you're like, the layers are not all attached. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have all 4 layers here attached just there. I do need to go back and cut open this other side, but now I went from having just one whole width yard of it to now I have an entire longer. So it's a lot longer now, pretty much. That's it. It's a lot longer. And I'm going to cut this other side that needs to be cut. Careful. Okay, so now we are going to gather. Now you can go back and you can like cut this trim, this seam allowance here. You can cut it away if you like, if you don't want it to be so wide. I'd recommend doing that, but we're going to change our stitch. I have my stitch currently at, just show you so you can see. It's not going to work, is it? Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to change my stitch. This is at like 2 or something. We're going to make it super wide. We're going to go with 5. And if you noticed, my bar changed here. My reverse stitch, if you look at it, it's going down as I turn it, and it's getting much tighter too. And it's going to go back up. See that? Okay, yeah, there. Alrighty, so let's make this thingamajigger right quick. We're going to sew the stitch is going to be 5 on the number 5 for the length of the stitch, because all you're going to do is gather it anyways. I'm going to try and do about an I'm going to do it where I'm sewing it at an inch over. This is an inch from the edge of the fabric. am slightly pulling this tool, so it's creating it's kind of gathering on its own already with a slight tug, but not a huge tug. Hello, how are you? I'll be right with you. All right. Can you get your phone number, please? Listen. You want to get that back on Thursday? Okay, sorry about that. Let's continue. Work never stops. I recommend putting the tool that you ruffle that you're creating, putting it um, in a basket. I'll show you mine in just a second, but I'm not letting it go onto the naked floor because tool has this tendency to pick up any and everything. I repeat, any and everything. Tool will pick it up and let it. So just put it into a basket. I line the basket with a trash bag, a white one preferably, so you can see anything. And that definitely helps it so it doesn't pick up all those little threads and stuff that be on the floor. Oh no, it didn't do it. Wait, okay, now look what happened. When it bubbled over, it stopped gathering. So I'm gonna go just above where that was and do it again. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what has come about now is a lovely little gather on its own. It has created just this little tug. Now, I can either leave that like that or I can pull it. Now, if I pull it, I'm going to pull it from the other end because I know the other end is a little bit more accurate. Okay, so you find your thread pieces because you're not going to backstitch. I didn't say that, but you're not going to backstitch. And you're just going to pull one of your threads like so, and then it will further gather even more. See how it continues to gather up, and you're holding one because whenever you're done gathering it, you will knot it. So it just depends on how much you want to gather. So the way to figure out how much you want to gather I'm still holding that one thread, and you just keep pulling. And you keep doing that all the way around until you get the desired effect that you're looking for. So, oopsie. What I'm going to do is get the bottom of the skirt that we're trying to do. So on the dress itself, the bottom of this dress here is what we are working on. This dress, yeah, I don't want to break the beads. Okay, so I gotta put it on my shoulder. Okay, so the dress itself, the shell stops right at the knees. So this is what we have to be able to cover on the inside because we're going to attach it to the lining. And I've already made my marking for the line that I needed to attach it at. So just to know what we are looking at, stuffing the lining down on the inside and focusing on the bottom of the dress here. Now you can take your tape measure across and measure from one edge to the other edge to see what you need. And of course, you have to follow the curve. We are looking at 23 1/4 from one side right now. So when you multiply that for the other side, you're actually going to be doing 46. So we have to make sure that the length of our ruffles is 46 to go around the entire skirt to have the tulle come out. So what we're going to do with that information now is we're going to take our tulle and we're going to line our tulle up. So we've already gathered it. We still can gather it some more, but we need to know how much more. I'm pretty sure this is way too long. I'm folding it in half just so I can have an easier gauge of what I need to do. And I would recommend knotting one of your ends so that you don't lose the thread coming out, because that would be such a trivial challenge to have to stitch after you've already done it. And I'm knotting it twice so that it can hold its place. It's done. All right, so holding my two edges together and seeing how much more I need to gather it from here, measuring out 40. Well, if I measure out 23 right now, I need to get it to be right here. I have both layers in my hand, and it is I'm probably a good 20 inches too wide. So let's get to pulling it closer. Find your one end, and we're going to pull. Pull, 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 pull. You want to even it out, of course. You don't want to stick it all on just one side. You never want that. You don't want to have one side more bunched than the other. And be gentle because you don't want to break your thread. You really don't want to break your thread. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Avoid breaking your thread at all costs. And you just keep taking it across. Keep taking it across. Keep taking it across. Okay. Let's get this other side going. You want to match them up so that they at least both kind of look ruffled equally. Now, I could have ruffled it the same way, one from each end, but I didn't. I could pull the thread out to try and get it like that, though. And you just have to take your time in doing it and then, go back and really measure and make sure it's what it's supposed to be. So, again, we need to make sure that it equals out to be 46. And we're going to measure the two edges. Edges are together, and we are at you're at 30. We are still too wide. So continue to hold your strings, and we are going to bunch it up right here. There's some gapping. Okay. Alrighty. So just trying to make sure that's about right. It's about right. Okay. Let's measure it once more. What we got? We need it to equal out to be 43. And I would say you could go ahead and do like 44, 45 just for your seam allowance or whatever. So I'm at 26, which means I'm still too big. I need to be halfway. Half of 46 is 23. So hopefully this is it. And we're measuring that again. We are at 23. Yes, perfect. So now what you want to do is go ahead and for sure, knot your thread in place. I'm just knotting it in place. I'm going to tie this together. So I'm tying the two of these together. And then I'm just going to clip this long thread I don't need anymore. And now we have exactly, ooh, be careful, don't want to rip it. Okay, so there's our gathered skirt. Woohoo, gathered tulle ruffle. This will be the top first ruffle on her skirt. Woohoo, yeah, we did it. Alrighty. And okay, so yeah. This is what sewing is actually like. Sewing is not that pretty, short, quick little 20-minute, 15-minute video you see. Sewing is actually a task. It's a task. It's a task. It's a task. It's a task. And this is not a rant. So sometimes people do not understand all of what it takes to do the sewing that they want. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. The next part. So as I said, did it go from raining to sunshine in like 5 minutes or less? Okay, I need a break. Okay, then I took a break. I had some coffee and I had some popcorn. All right, I should not eat on camera. Left. Okay, no problem. We'll see you soon. Uh-huh. Okay, so the next phase of what we're doing for this ruffle, for this skirt that we're adding to make this mermaid ruffle. Okay, so you didn't get to see this part, but what I did was I took the, okay, so because the color shade of orange that the customer has for their garment is not the shade of orange that's trending right now. So we have to give her something close to it. So what I did was I took some red sparkle tulle and I'm going to put a layer of solid orange tulle on top of it because I did not have sparkle orange tulle. So I'm layering it on top of it to give the shade of orange that would be most appealing for what the customer wanted. Now here's the other little thing I did. This is a process, y'all. It's a process. It's a process. Okay, so remember, they want a ruffle. They want multiple layers of ruffle. Now I would say if I didn't work on alterations, I would cut each and every layer. That's when you get into like custom made couture garments. This is an alteration. So we're trying to give what the customer wants in the most simplest, easiest way possible. And the simplest, easy way possible that would be most effective without taking eons and eons of hours to do, because you're already going to have to do it. You need to figure out what way will give you what you're trying to do the most accurate, efficient way, still giving great quality. Because I'm not trying to rush and do something and then it'd be like trash. I don't want that. I want to make sure that I give the best quality item efficiently. Even like when you're cooking, like there are a lot of restaurants that say cook fast, 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 fast. I'm not talking about fast food. I'm talking about like an actual sit down restaurant where they're like, oh, make it fast, make it fast, make it fast. Speed does not equal quality. Quantity, I'd say for me, and I heard a chef say this also. I can't remember the chef name, but I would rather have quality over quantity any day. Give me quality that took longer than to give me a lot of stuff super fast and it just be like it's not even great. I would rather wait for something to be really put together, full, complete, done. I can tell you some stories about being in the kitchen and what that's like, and then you would be amazed at how in the kitchen there are so many egos. I mean, every business, every industry has people with egos, but the fact that in restaurants you all in the same kitchen, cooking the same stuff, you either chopping, stirring, mixing, or actually preparing. The egos are just, oh my gosh. Back to this ruffle. So this mermaid ruffle I'm about to show you how I'm going to simplify achieving multiple layers. Why does it keep doing that shifty shit? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. The light and something's like keep doing something with the light. Okay. Easily amused. Excuse me. Okay, so we have our ruffle that we are trying to achieve. We have fabric, multiple layers of fabric. So I'm gonna show you what I did. I hope you can see this when I explain it. I apologize if you can't see it. Alrighty. So to achieve this multi-layer ruffle, again, I took two sets of different colors of tulle and put them together so that I could get the shade of orange I wanted without it being so overbearing with the red, because the red is red. Now I'm going to leave it double layered. However, my intent is that, hope I can convey this right, because I don't know if I am. Okay. Um, okay, so I have my tulle here. Here's my tulle. Here's my tulle. What I am going to do with this layer of Work with me. Okay. Okay, so here's our tool. We have two layers of tool. They're the same yardage, the same width. Actually, no, they're about a good 4 inches different. So one is not 56 and one is probably, it's not 45, but it's something else. But one is probably 60 and one is 56 inches wide. That's probably what it is. Either way, doesn't matter because we're going to fold it over. So because, like I said, I want to achieve multiple layers without having to go and cut these multiple layers. Like to do, cut one whole row, cut another whole row. Off, I'm not going to fold it completely exactly in half. So I'm folding it. See, I figured this stuff out the other day and now I can't seem to put it back in my head. Okay, about to figure out together. So ideally, I have folded this over. I have my folds together. This is my raw edge and raw edge. And this is one fold and another fold of the two tools. And instead of me folding it directly in half, I folded it where it was off. It's not directly in half. Because see, I have the whole remainder left here, and then there's this part. So the question is, I'm not going to achieve what I want. I'm going to have to figure out this excess piece right here. This is throwing me off because I don't want it to show necessarily red at the bottom of her skirting, but I am going to put some crinoline. So I'm using tulle and crinoline. I'm not using any netting. Netting is like the in between tulle and crinoline, and I don't think I have any with me. It's lots stiffer. Tulle tends to be really, tulle is light and kind of airy. I don't know if this is about to work though. So I'm trying to figure it out before I sew it because once I sew it, I sew it. So how should we do it? Because I still have to go back and cut the fold open. How should it be done? Because see, the goal is that I will have, see that I instantly have layers without having had cut each of these layers. But I also have this other orange layer too that we've already done. So we have this orange layer that's going to sit on top. So you see how it has the effect we're trying to achieve? And it's going to sit up higher, then this layer is going to sit below it, and then that layer is going to come out the bottom. So you see, it's like create the layers that you desire without cutting each and every single one. The only one I actually had to cut was this one, but it was also the excess. So it ended up giving me 7 yards. I took 3.5 yards, folded that in half, cut that in half to be able cut it in half the lengthwise so that I could get 7 yards to gather this. And this is going to sit at the very top layer, and then it'll be this layer. It'll have a layer of sparkle, and then it'll go back into the tulle, and then it'll go into another layer of tulle. But how should we go about achieving it? Because I didn't want the red to stand out so much. I'm trying to hide the red so that they don't know that the red is actually there. But I think this is going to work. We're going to just have that red kind of dangle at the bottom. We're going to cut that raw edge of the tulle off though later. I should do it now though. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to work. It'll be fine. It'll all be just fine. We just have to do it. We just have to do it. I am wondering if I should add. The thing is, I would love to go ahead and add horsehair to the bottom layer of her tulle, but I don't have red horsehair or orange. And that is my only dilemma from actually going ahead and doing that. But let's just take a moment right quick. And I have my basket. I didn't show you guys my basket. So down below, just there, I have a basket that's lined with a trash bag so that my tool, as I sew it, it can land inside there. And um, let's just go ahead and achieve this desired look that we're going for. It's gonna work. It'll be cute. I do think it'll be cute. Yeah, it's off centered. It's not totally in half. There's a layer of orange still below. There's the red below. But we're gonna give this young lady a really nice look for her day. I do believe. I just feel like it's a little bit too much. Because you do have to like look at stuff when you're sewing it and see, are you getting the look or is it looking a mess? Some might say you should just go ahead and cut it and make it easier and stuff. Actually, I'm going to leave this folded. Look at how perfect that is. That's a perfect. I'm going to let this bottom layer be loose like it is. But this right here, I love how this is just right. So sometimes it's good to play around with things and you see where you need to go with what you're trying to do. I hope you can see what I see when it comes to like how. Actually, you can see it right here. So it's gathered. This is the raw edges where they're loose, but up here, they're still on the fold. Can you see that? And once it's all like gathered, it's going to look perfect without having had trimmed these open. I'm glad I didn't trim them. They're perfect. This is what we're going for. This is the look we're trying to achieve without having this look. It's okay on the bottom. It's not going to be so much because that's the last layer versus this layer. This is about to be a banger. This is about to be a banger, y'all. So the only thing you have to keep in mind while you're sewing this is the width. You have to pay attention to your width because we did not cut it because we are trying to eliminate having so many things to do because it's an alteration. And while you're sewing, you're going to have to basically pretty much eyeball and know. You can have your, your ruler or whatever and make sure that the distance between what you started with continues the whole way through the rest of the way. Give me just a moment. I will be right back. I'm going to mute you guys. Okay, so as I was saying, how you start your your measurements here. You want to make sure you keep that the whole way through. So if I'm starting out where this go just beyond the raw edge of that. So I have about a little less than 4 inches between this section of tulle for one layer. Then I have another 3 inches between this section of tulle and this one. So I have a total of 3 layers that are being simultaneously created at once. Just pay attention to all that while you're sewing. I'll be right back just a moment. All right, this is the real life of how it works when you are sewing and you running a business all at the same time or operating of a business. Okay, so like I told y'all, we're gonna make sure that we do all of this stuff, right? Keep your measurements as you go. So you might want to just, monitor that. Now, how I'm gonna sew it is the other thing to keep in mind is how wide your first ruffle is. And my first ruffle is about the same width as this first layer row that I have, but it's also going to sit above it. Probably this ruffle here is going to sit above it by, I want to say, a good 2 to 3 inches above this one. So it'll be offset once it's up there. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to let this tool sit in my lap while I'm sewing. And I'm gonna sew it. I'm gonna say I'm sewing it at. I'm sewing it. Um. What did I say I'm sewing it at? I don't want to have too much tulle to sew through when I attach it, if that makes sense. Let me show you. So like, oops, that's too far down. I don't want to have a ton to sew through. Like having just having like that much tulle to attach, I think is good. Or at least I hope. Let's do 3/4. You can do 5/8 of an inch, I guess. So that's 1/4, half, 3/4, 5/8 of an inch. Should we do 5/8? Let's do 5/8 because an inch is a lot. Yeah, we'll do. Well, it doesn't matter because she still has all of this. We'll do an inch. We'll do an inch. It'll work. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's begin sewing. Alrighty. I'm just. I want to. Alexa, play Blanca. Once I leave work. Okay, let's turn the machine on and begin. I'm still sewing it at with a 5 width. Remember to monitor how your stuff is folding over while you're sewing. And it's not a race, it's not a rush. I mean, if you in a bind for time, then yeah, but and I'm slightly pulling it so that we can get that same. Oh no! I didn't do it right there. It doesn't matter. We're gonna gather it still. Okay, so alrighty, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I do not like what's going on. It's getting so. I don't like what it's doing. But it's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be all right when we get ready to show it together. Yeah, it looks a mess, but we're gonna fix it. It's okay. We're gonna fix it. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry. It's gonna be fine. Everything's just perfect. Everything's just perfect. Don't worry. Everything's just perfect. We're gonna make it luxurious in a moment. It's gonna be luxurious. It's gonna be luxurious. Trust me. It's gonna be luxurious. We got nothing to worry about. We're gonna make it work, you guys. We're gonna make it work. We have no choice but to, because guess what? When they come dressed up, alrighty, tidy. We're at the end. Just barely at the end of this sucker. And I'm pretty sure I have to fix some things once we get it. Ooh, yeah. we're going to cut this now from here. I know it looks a little messy right now, but we're going to fix that. I didn't want this to get all crinkled up like that, but it did. And my edge is a little bit, well, it's even for the most part. It stayed even. It's a little bit narrow right up in here, but we'll probably end up just cutting off that section just so we can have uniformity along the way, because where I had the double layer at is where it began to kind of like not it wasn't, I should have folded it completely all the way out where it was going to be, so that when I was sitting here sewing, and I did that fold back and forth like that so that it wouldn't have to be rolled out. Either one would have worked, but it's just not finished yet. Give me just a sec, I'll be right back. I'm on mute. My bad. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and pull and drag and get down to our, what do we need the length to be? 43 total? No, 40, 46. So you find one of the strands to pull and gently just pull it. hmm And we're going to just pull it and keep on pulling. Now you could make this in sections and do like the front and then the back. It just depends on what you feel like doing. Just be gentle with pulling it so that you don't break your thread again. That's the main things to keep. Oh, did I break it? I think I just broke it. Okay, so we're just gonna keep long threads right here and recut this, re-stitch it, and we'll leave it where it's broken at and not worry about it. So that little gap section here. So I leave a space in between where it broke at and start my next one. And I'm going to sew over the other thread that's there so that we don't have an issue going further. Cut that and we'll gather this one right there, and we're also going to tie it. So just bring your thread through the other side. That little section that broke, we're just, you got to make things work. So it'll, so you can get what, to get to the goal, the desired goal. So I pulled my thread that I had through to the other side, and I'm just going to knot this because it's as tight as it's going to be. And tying it once, and I'm going to knot it the second time. And we're going to clip that so we won't go back and just touch that anymore. And now we are going to cut it off where we double back stitched. Cut those extras off because we don't want those hanging down later. And we're going to start pulling once more. Alrighty. So again, gently pull. Gently pull that. Oh man, I broke the thread again. Okay, so we will just begin again. Wherever it broke at, let's find it. It broke right there. So what we'll do is Gather from the other direction. Okay, so you're gonna have to pull the thread through to the other side. I'm just gonna use a little needle, pen. I'm just trying to pull the thread from the other side through so that I can knot this. All right, I have knotted that. Cutting above the knot. Okay, so we can tie this side because there's nothing for me to do over here anymore. It keeps breaking, but it's okay. No biggie. So I'm going to knot this side here. I will show you up close what I'm doing in just a moment when I get to the desired length that we need, and I'm knotting it. Oh, that tore. Uh-oh. Okay, so
I have a question. I have engagement tomorrow at 3. Okay. Because my fiance is that's 303 748 3378.
see you. Have a great day.
No problem. Because if you come back with the wrong color, I'm gonna be mad, and then you can't be proud up on our pictures.
So you're just one.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Alrighty, so I have it gathered there. This is a little gappy thing here, so let's just, I'm leave it alone. Let's continue going because we don't have much more to go, I don't think. Let's see, trying to get to. Hey, Miss Janae, I'm still here. No, I won't be here tomorrow.
I will. No problem.
Okay. Hello. Hey, how are you? I'm good. What are you guys up to? I understand. I haven't been by you. I've been so busy with work. Huh? Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad you guys are better. Yeah. Oh, little sugar plum. I do. I gotta find some time when it's not so busy. My boss and his wife just had their first baby, so that's partially why it's so busy. All right, so I've been sitting here trying to just pull this all together, and yes, it's been a little bit of a challenge. I would say my recommendation from here would be to simply, more than likely, do sections, only because the way I've done it seems to be a little bit of a challenge, just a smidget, and I'm knotting this because it broke again. So I'm just gonna pull that and knot it in place. I'm knotting it. Okay. And we're cutting that excess off. And I'm going to pull that just there, like so. Alrighty. So there's that. I shouldn't have cut that other one there, but I'm gonna have to go back anyways. So we're almost there with gathering this. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Be gentle when you're doing this because you just don't know what is gonna make it break. And it gets like these little tiny tangles. Okay. Yeah, it keeps getting caught just ever so slightly right here. And I know if I pull it, it's gonna act up. Okay. Now, let us pray that this is the 46 inches that we need for this dress. So my one edge is here and here. Yes, I'm there. Hallelujah. Yeah, I'm a little over, but it's also not gathered right in that center front section there, so it's okay. All right, so let's tie this before we be sitting here and got an issue. It broke. Okay. It slightly broke on me, but we're gonna fix that. Alrighty. It's almost where it needs to be. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You know what? We're just gonna stitch it because I don't have time to sit here and fool with this thing. I just don't have time to fool with this thing, and I'm gonna stitch on top of this thing. Because it's acting like it don't want to do what I want it to do. Okay, I have extra stitched it real good and it should be okay. Clip these little spins here. Give me 1 second. I'm coming right back in just a moment. I'll be right with you just a moment.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They say y'all close at 6 o'clock on here.
Hey y'all, hey, I know it'd be like, where do you go? You just leave the video and you don't come back. So we have made our second our second and third layer of tulle. Sorry, I'm trying to just show y'all what it clip that on. So this is our tulle skirt. Okay, so that section that was pulled is not doing right. Okay, let me tie this because it's not acting the way it should be acting right now. Okay, let's see how we can fix this because I do need this section. Okay, that works. Alrighty, I'm gonna double knot it. And that'll be that. Yep, that's just right. Okay, so this right here is all extra that I don't need. I can do it, but I don't know if I will. I think I need to because this front piece needs a little bit of. I'm gonna knot this section here. This section in front, I need to knot as well. And okay. Alrighty. So that little front section that did not get the whatchamacallit here, I'm gonna gather it. Should I gather it by hand? No. No. It is complete. Ooh, look at that! Ay! Arriba! I love it. Okay, that's doing the most. All right. I'm gonna stitch this little piece here that this threading had broke. I'm gonna stitch that right quick. And we're going to okay. All righty. Alrighty. We're almost done here. We're almost done here. I'm probably gonna have to do this in 2 videos because I'm ready to go. Alrighty. Ah, I broke it again. It is work to put this stuff together. It is not always understood. The labor intensiveness, even a simple dress sometimes can end up being so labor intensive. Okay, so I have that. Woo! Y'all. Girls, tired. I'm gonna end up having to put this together like that in the front. All right, so we have it done. And alrighty, we have our skirt. This is our bottom layer. Now, what I wanted to do, I'm sorry, y'all all like, I can't. You talking, but we don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here, why does it keep getting caught? Okay. All right, so here you have the 3 layer. This is gonna be the bottom layer. You can see that that's not done right there, but so this is the skirt here. That's the skirt. Then we're gonna. Woo! I almost slipped. That wouldn't have been cute. Okay, and then this is the layer that's gonna go just above it. I keep having to shift this little camera. Okay, so this is the skirting. It's gonna be more like that, but something. It's gotta be something like this. Something like this. The top layer, I'm probably gonna end up putting the top layer in where the tulle, the edge is like this, so that it comes out the right way. So that it has that the overlap kind of look. I don't want it to look like this. I want it to look like that. There is a difference. So I will basically have to sew this way and then flip it down, if that makes sense. When I put it on, I have to sew it so that the edge is facing the top of the dress to put it on, and then I'll flip it down so that it does the effect of sticking out the way I believe she's trying to accomplish. And then we're going to add this further down the way, stitch it on. It's going to be cute when it's all said and done. When it's all said and done, I believe she will have achieved what it was that she was trying to gain. I just stepped, oh no, I didn't. I thought I stepped on it. So that'll be that. I did step on it and pulled it. Cat slab it. Hi, how are you? Don't you look beautiful in this summery?
Yeah, I'm on my way up to Dirty Dog Gas Cafe.
I've never been.
No? Yeah, it's 313-433-1377. Yeah, I need to go grab my
Okay.
wine.
No problem.
Right. Uh-huh. Oh, really? You don't know what all that is.
You want a copy of your receipt?
Yes.
I'll call him. He's home now.
You too. Thank you. You gotta check it out whenever you get a chance.
Okay, I'll put it
All
in.
right.
Okay. All right, y'all just still here. I forgot. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I just forgot you guys were still here. So I forgot I was still recording. Woo. I'm tired. I will say that sewing can be a mental task more than it can be physical at times. It can be physical when it's a very heavy garment, but whoo, oh my gosh. So now the challenge is to add it onto the bottom of that dress. Doing it, I'm gonna have to place it first. So I am gonna make a second video. I am glad that I did the whole video. Yes, this video is long because I have to start and stop because I am at work at the same time and have to deal with customers. But this is how you make a mermaid ruffle. This is how you make the mermaid ruffle. This is our top layer that we're gonna place on there, and then this is our next layer that. Oh, I keep getting caught. This is our second, third, and you could say fourth layer. Technically, there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 layers, so there's total 5 layers here that we've created for the customer of what she wanted. And then we're just gonna have to go back and I think I had to fix you have to fix this one little section because it's not quite right. Yeah, I said I was gonna double stitch it there. But other than that, I'm done for showing you how to make this ruffle skirt. And thanks for watching. We're gonna do another one later when we attach it to the dress. Yay!